Okay, so 10 a.m. quick social. How's everybody doing?
I had both shots. There's an advantage
Hey.
to being 65.
All right.
Nice. How did it affect you? Was it like the flu shot, or did it hit you hard?
The second shot, I had chills and a mild fever for about 8 hours, but that was it. And I figured that was just the immune system kicking in. So
That's
it
what they
seems
say.
to have worked.
Which shot did you get?
The Pfizer.
Okay.
I got the same ones. I got the second shot. When was it? Wednesday, and I had like some mild kind of flu-like symptoms, but very mild, kind of like 2 days after.
Yep.
I've had
Also
the first
normal.
of the Moderna, and I get the second one next week, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I figure it just meant my immune system still worked.
Yes.
Yeah. My sister is a sister-in-law is a phlebotomist, and she thinks they may be giving the Pfizer to the upper echelon at the hospital she's at, and then everyone else is getting the Moderna because certainly the side effects are a little worse, you know. So, it's just a theory. She has no proof yet.
I just went through the Orange County app, Athena or something, and signed up for it. And they sent me an email, and I replied right away and got right in.
I still haven't been able to get one for myself yet either.
Yeah, we'll keep trying. The supply has increased. Moderna and Pfizer, the two main ones. They just approved a third one. If you're Kaiser, Kaiser just got an additional allotment. So just make sure you're registered through Athena, and keep checking with your provider, and just take the first available, whichever one it is.
That's Orange County is Athena. LA County and Riverside have different.
Oh, okay.
Alan, do you know what version that Kaiser's doing?
You know what? I do not, but my parents have just set up an appointment for the 4th. So I'll find out. Some locations have had access to both. So the on-campus location that we were able to take advantage of initially was supposed to be Moderna, but then they had received a supply of Pfizer. So that's what they're using for us right now. But I can follow up and see. I don't know if it's across all of Kaiser or just by site, but I can ask around.
Do you know the latest story on Johnson & Johnson's single dose deal?
I heard it was approved.
Yeah, the FDA just signed off on it.
Yeah.
But I believe it was for like emergency use or something like that.
They're all
Yeah.
emergency use only. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why no company can require it, because they're not been approved for general use. They're all emergency approvals.
Well, I have underlying conditions, so I just haven't been able to find some place that I can go. I keep getting calls for appointments, but every time I go, it's oh yeah, we're all booked up.
Yep. Keep trying. Don't give up.
Oh,
That's the same with me. My wife died of COVID on February the 10th.
Oh,
We
sorry to
both
hear
had COVID here at the house, caught it from family members. I was very sick. I didn't think she was that sick. I was saved by, I contacted the American Frontline Doctors through friends urging me to do so. And they sent me hydrochloroquine, and it saved my life. Doctors say it's all nonsense, but here I am and my wife's dead.
Oh, sorry, man.
3 weeks ago, man. Very tough.
I can
40
imagine.
years. We were together for 40 years.
Oh,
Anyway,
Sure.
doesn't mean to, my name's Patronus. I'm new here. I went to one Riverside meeting about, I don't know, probably 15 years ago. It was down in Riverside. And it was at a university. A couple of guys were there. And I've been wanting to say hello to Thomas Messerschmidt. Hello. Finally get to see you, man.
Hello, long time. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Didn't mean to rain on the parade here, guys.
oh, that's okay.
But
All right, Ben. You're definitely in the right spot. Welcome. Welcome back.
thank you.
We have another member who hasn't been here in more than 10 years. Tim Sullivan is back. Does anybody remember Tim Sullivan?
Hey, Tim, how are you doing?
I remember you, Tim Lewis.
Hey, Tim.
What you been up to?
Who, me?
Yeah, you building any robots, Tim?
You know what? I kind of want to, but I get kind of frustrated. I walk into my room and see all this hardware and that stuff, and I get overwhelmed with it. And, you know, I have enough hardware to build 3 or 4 robots, and I don't know why I can't even get one finished, you know? And it just drives me up the wall.
He's got some amazing mechanical devices there. His are, you know, heavy metal. He's the heavy metal dude because he builds everything out of full-length pieces of pulleys and
Aluminum and yeah. I left $2,000 worth of materials back in Riverside when we moved to Grants Pass. I spent $2,000 to buy these sprockets for number 60 chain, and I had built this tank-like base, and the treads were like 9 feet long if you disconnected it.
Jesus.
And I spent $2,000 that came in bearings, you know, and God, and it's just so depressing. And you know, I want to get back into shredded robots, but this thing weighed like 75 pounds, and the issue was when I tried to turn it, it didn't turn real well. It left cleat marks in the concrete in my driveway, and which was kind of frustrating. And then I took this thing all apart, and then someone said, well, you know, if you just put a sprocket in the center and dropped it down a little bit, it would have pivoted on that. But yeah, unfortunately, it just irritates me. Like I said, I left like $2,000 worth of hardware, you know.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
you still got some robots there, don't you? You can show off, Tim?
Yeah, I still live at the Petco. You know, that's just sitting on the stand and that stuff. But oh, then I started building another little robot called Folger. And the reason, and don't ask me why, but I know that sounds stupid, but we had one of these like potato salads inside one of these plastic containers. And I thought that'd make a neat looking head, you know, it was all rinsed out. And I thought, okay, since this would be a real small robot. So I decided to use the body of a red Folger's can. And where the indentations are for the handle to grab it, I decided to stick PVC pipe there vertically that would actually be part of the arms.
Well, we want to see that, Tim. We want to see it. We don't want to hear about it. We want to see it.
Yeah. Well,
but you know what we used to say in the club? We used to say, if it's stupid and it works, it wasn't stupid.
Yeah.
You remember that, huh?
Yeah. I could probably grab that real quick right now. You know, I have to just leave for a second and bring it back.
Okay.
Guess we're officially started the meeting, huh?
Well, so here, let's do this. I see both Jim and Ben are here. We've started the recording for the day. I'm glad to see everyone. We've got lots of new faces. Are doing well. Jim, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, guess we're ready to go. Yeah, welcome everybody to this new time. At least we'll try it out and see how it goes. I'm Jim D'Annunzio, current president of the Robotics Society of Southern California, and this is a joint club meeting with Riverside and Tech Room, Riverside Robotics Society and Tech Room. And today, this is a return to our normal time when we used to meet in person at Long Beach and in Riverside on Saturday mornings. So we'll see how people are. If you're a little groggy, then you're in the right camp.
I like this format better.
What's that?
I like this format better.
Yeah, some people are morning people. I particularly like Saturday mornings, but so today we're gonna have a quick business meeting, and then we're scheduled to have Bob Barboza give a talk. I tried sending him a few emails. I don't see him connected yet. But if anybody has additional emails or text or chat or his phone number, please text him to make sure he's coming.
I have his number.
Yeah, I don't think I have. So yes, welcome to the new people and people who could make it on Saturday, but not Friday. Friday is, obviously there's people on both sides, but Saturday used to be our time. So we'll try it out and see how it goes.
So Jim, did Orange have his way with the right side of your face?
No, I had a little, I had a minor skin surgery to remove a problem, let's just say. So, you know, I have very pale skin, light skin, sensitive to moles and that sort of thing.
Well, I thought maybe Orange decided to have it out with you or something.
Yeah, I haven't put a claw on him yet, but he's got a new camera. He's got the this new Oak D thing, which I'll hopefully show later. It's the Depth AI stereo AI camera with built-in inference engine, and it's pretty cool, but no claw yet. No arm. Maybe I'll have to put an arm on him at some point because he has to reach out and grab a beer, of course, someday.
Okay, I texted Bob.
What's that?
I texted Bob.
Okay, thank you. So I think Dr. Bruce had asked about dues. Currently, we're not collecting dues for the club, and we had a treasurer's report last month, and the number was the same as pretty much the beginning of 2020, and we were only spending money on the web page. That there's no other expenses really.
Yeah, we didn't have a pizza party, none of that. So
yeah, there's been no events like that. So, and we haven't set up a way to collect, like a mailing address, for instance. And if people if the board members or other other club officials want to resume that, please let me know. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we can hold off on trying to reinstate that until we start getting more expenses, or or we get, if Ron, the treasurer, gives us an address to send them to, then we can do it that way. So I will try to get his address just so we're ready, or get it way. I mean, if it's not his personal address, then a PO box or something. But we'll figure it out when we need to. But as far as funds are concerned, it's pretty good. The other thing I wanted to just mention, this month has been hosted by RSSC, by yours truly, and for March, it'll be Riverside, and then April will be hosted by Tech Room. So we're doing a rotational schedule. For those who didn't know, every month, one of the three clubs will be hosting this event, and they will be setting the schedule or the agenda. So we'll get a variety of different agendas, which is fine. It's a little bit more spice to life. So the other thing is, I just like to put it out there, looking for guest lecturers. Of course, we're looking for internal lecturers, as I mentioned last month, for the 30-minute talks that we like to have at the beginning of at least one meeting per month. But we always will have the show and tell to fill in the time that if we don't have lectures. But if you know someone outside the club doing interesting robotics making, microcontroller projects, who would be willing to give a 30-minute talk via Zoom, please reach out to them and CC me, and we'd love to hear about their work. And that includes a wide variety, of course, of topics, electronics and robotics, all that stuff. The other thing I wanted to bring up is how the club may want to participate in National Robotics Week, which is April 3rd to 11th this year. People have brought it up on our email list, and there was some suggestion by Trish, and it wasn't too many replies, but I kind of forget what we've done in previous years. There's done various things, but this one probably be a virtual. By April, still probably virtual. It's only a couple months away, but we could participate in some way. I haven't looked into it in detail yet, but if you go to that website, nationalroboticsweek.org, then there's different ideas. We can set up something to do, including a Zoom meeting, of course. And that's to help out in educational goals to young people, especially is what it's for, and bring awareness to the general public. Anyone who wants to learn robotics. So that's a good thing. Please check that out, nationalroboticsweek.org. And maybe by next time we'll have some, maybe some ideas. Any questions or comments about what I'm talking about, or any other announcements from other board members and officials, or as far as business of the clubs? This now, I guess, this could be, at this point, it's business for any of the clubs, the 3 clubs.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask the other clubs, are you guys gonna also do a Saturday meeting, or are you guys gonna keep it on Fridays? Like Thomas?
We can keep the same form. The tech room, I don't think anybody's here from the tech room today. And there's a reason behind that. I believe they are having an off-site outing today. So I talked to Forrest, and I said, well, I wasn't going to be able to make it. And that's his option, I suppose.
I didn't know there was a conflict. But, yeah.
Well, he didn't tell me till last minute. So I'm going to discuss it with him and figure out what he's going to do for April. So either I or he will get back to you regarding that. How's that sound?
Who's doing next month?
Next month?
Next month is Riverside, and then
Riverside. I got that one. That's fine.
Are you doing a Saturday?
Are we going to do the split, Jim? Do you want to continue with the split, or Saturdays only? I'm a little confused on that.
Well, this is kind of an ongoing. We haven't decided that officially yet. We were going to try out today and see how people like it and how many people show up. We have 24 participants now, which is similar to our normal, maybe a little higher than Fridays, but
I also see that a lot of the members that were missing from the Fridays are here. So that's
yeah.
a good thing.
Dr. Bruce especially prefers Saturday morning.
Jim Uberseg, welcome. I see you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jim is here.
Yeah.
Maybe we should continue the split meeting.
We could do a split, because then it could allow the largest number of people at least once a month, because obviously there are conflicts on Saturday morning with some other clubs, etc. In fact, the Saturday mornings have the donkey car races. I don't know if anybody's doing that, but well, it's once every month, I think.
Jim, if I can just interrupt, whatever you guys choose to do, it would be nice if whoever's responsible for putting the announcements in the email with Meetup would get it straight. I saw, and I think it was Plutonus also, because he made a comment. There were announcements for both Friday and Saturday for this meeting, and it was really confusing. So
that's my fault.
Oh, did I screw up? No,
No, Jim, that was my fault. That was the meetup. I thought I corrected it. And first I didn't update it at all because I didn't think about it. And then I corrected it and the correction was wrong. So
Oh, okay.
everyone who was confused. So we'll just have to fix it for the future.
Yeah, now when I send out, yeah, sorry about that. When I send out, I've been sending out announcements now twice between meetings, like well, for this first one was a please save the time, and then the second one with bold lettering saying the new time is 10 a.m. And I send out to all three groups. So Thomas, if you notice, my email I send to the Meetup, I send to the, of course, RSSC and HR Robotics as well, all three. And if there's any others, I'll just add it in. So it's all, I've been doing that announcement for a while. So it shouldn't have to forward it to the Meetup because mine is coming through. I saw it.
Yeah, I got yours, Jim, without problem, and so I thought it was Saturday, and then I saw got the one about the Friday evening, and again, it's just, I just bring it up mainly so that it could be done properly, and those of us who were somewhat confused might not have to be confused.
Yeah, sorry about that. I mean but yeah, I'm just informing the other clubs and Thomas, hopefully that. No one has to forward it anymore. I mean, it's silly to have to,
we have the calendar, and I want to keep it on the calendar, and then Meetup automatically sends it out. That was the problem. So you sent it, and then Meetup sent it.
Oh, okay. You're adding it to the calendar.
Yeah.
I can't add it to the calendar there. Probably.
You can if I give you permission, and I will do that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's fine. Then you don't have to, I don't have to always do this, but whoever's doing it can do all the announcements and the calendar in one person. So it's, if there's a mistake, it's totally consistent. Then we'll just have the meeting whenever it's said, right? But if there's conflicting things, then I often, when I'm copying the email, you have to replace the times and the dates. So now I'm going to have two email templates for one for the 10 a.m., one for the Friday, and then just pick the each one every other time. And because that can happen too, is when you're trying to change the dates and times. Anyway. Anything else for business? Let's see. Does anyone know our board members this year? Are they? Is it? Could someone refresh my memory? Is it Bob? Bob Barbosa is on the board, right? And I think Walter's is on the board. He can't. That's another, unfortunately, Walter won't be able to make these Saturday ones. But
I'm on the board, Jim.
Bill is also a member of the board.
I'm sorry. Yeah, of course, Thomas.
Bill.
Yeah, if you need me to do it, I'll do it again. Like I said, I basically took a year off of this. When COVID.
Well, the board members are voluntary. Whoever, it's totally up to you. But okay, good. So did you texted Bob then?
I did. He hasn't answered.
I had several emails addresses for him, and I sent it to all of them. Bob Barbosa at Gmail. Anyway, I won't say them all, but and I sent them to all of them, and he seemed to prefer Saturday morning. But let me just give a brief background in case he doesn't either way. But he was going to update us on the Barbosa Space Center and for 2020 activities, and which has been keeping young people engaged with the 2020 Mars learning adventures. Such topics as the Mars Food Project, Martian habitats, virtual workshops, and many, many disciplines involved with going to Mars, and of course, robots. So he's been keeping things active virtually, at least. I'm not sure if they've had, they had limited ability to have meetings in person. You can see his the website, the Barbosa Space Center. It's let's see, let me paste it into the barbarbosasspacecenter.com. And here, where can I just drag this into the here we go. I pasted there. And then the Kids Talk Radio. He's been doing this for a long time, and it's quite an effort in coordinating with educational groups. Here, I guess I can just share the screen.
Jim, before you get deeply into all of this, could you just...
Yeah, I'm not getting too deep. This is just a quick, I'm sorry, what did you, you went on mute.
I was just kind of curious as to what the role of the board members do, what their responsibilities are.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the board member. I mean, as I understand it, it's an oversight of the club's activities and our practices, our policies, and when we have any kind of issues that we need to decide on, the nonprofit status and more official things like that. That's generally what I mean, I haven't seen a written document describing what board does, but generally that's the issue. That sort of like a board of trustees to help a steering committee of sorts to people who are very active, who are very interested in the future of the club and where it's going and its direction, to help steer it in the right direction, especially if they think something needs correction, and to help out the president, vice president, and the officers, the other officers, I should say. That the board members are officers, of course, too. Does that sound right to the veterans?
I believe you've got it right.
Correct. Yeah.
That's the way I've always seen it.
Yeah. So board members are kind of they volunteer, and then they're sort of appointed by the officers, right? Is that that's kind of how it works? And the other board members are, but yeah, it's once a year we refresh it. And Bob Barbosa, Walter has been on it, and Thomas for a long, the regular board members. But it's open to people who are really enthusiastic about the future of the club. Can become board members, or can who want to who really have feel like they have they want to contribute and to the direction and that sort of thing. So that answer your question?
It did. Thank you very much. It's very helpful to understand all of this. So thanks a bunch.
Yeah, of course, I'm pretty new to being, to taking this role, and we haven't had a lot of discussion of, we haven't had meetings in person or including the board, which usually at least a few times a year we'll have an officers meeting in person, well, at least once a year anyway, with the board, especially if we have to do anything with the nonprofit applicate or the status and renewals and that sort of thing. Ron
Correct.
Rose handles that, but
Before any big decision, we used to always have a board meeting, and all the officers, we would sit down and hash it out.
I don't remember really how we wrote the nonprofit stuff, but I think as part of it, we have to have a board, at least in title, even if functionally it doesn't do much. It's got to exist.
yeah, that makes sense. It's part of the nonprofit charter or designation.
Right.
Yeah, so it's just a necessary thing that we do as part of our, but it does help when we have decisions to make, and we, you know, that we did have a meeting a couple of years ago when, you know, to sort of deal with or to address some issues like the Riverside relationship with our club and that sort of thing, whether we, you know, the more official how we were going to file for the nonprofit, but and we got that worked out. And yeah, so anyway, well, if Bob isn't here, then we may not have to have a talk today. And what is it? It's 10:30. We can
I'm
go.
sure we can come up with a new talk. I mean, we have a lot of members with us, some awesome robots.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I could talk for a long time. You know, I've been working heavily on different things. I was going to do a show and tell about. I have different. Well, certainly this Oak D camera I have that can. I sent out some pictures to the AI group. We have a SIG, a special interest group, RSSC AI SIG, which is a mailing list, a Google group that hasn't had much, much participation lately or much traffic on the,
Jim,
but it was
may I
originally the
interrupt?
Leaf.
Jim, may I interrupt?
What's that?
May I interrupt?
Yes.
Can you give the some of the information on how people can join the SIG?
Yeah, well, the both of the RSSC group and the RSSC AI SIG, it's RSSC-list and RSSC AI SIG. They're Google groups, and here I'll share screen again. You can go to googlegroups.com. This is one way, I mean, to join, and the RSSC AI SIG is RSSC-AI-SIG, and this is an artificial intelligence special interest group of RSSC, and it's specifically about autonomous AI-driven robots, and this list has people that have been working on more specifically on the SlamTech based autonomous robot or SlamTech technology included robots with their LiDAR and the SLAM, the simultaneous location and mapping, as well as other as speech to text, text to speech, and AI and AI behaviors. And it came out of the Dr. Bruce's LEAF project. This is sort of the next generation. And so you're welcome to join that. It's open. And of course, joining our group, the RSSC list, is also a Google group. And that's a general the general group, which has much more traffic on it about all sorts of topics. We appreciate if anyone else is interested in the AI subgroup, then please join. And it doesn't have to be.
Link? Jim, can you post a link, please, in the chat?
Yeah. Yeah, to the, well, to the AI
AI.
SIG. AI SIG is here. And let me stop this. This is the AI SIG, the Google. So yeah, we'd love to have more participants. We've had, you know, Dr. Bruce, myself, and John Davis have been the most active on there in the last year. But I like to post, you know, more detailed updates to there than the main list on like the more AI based robot, like my largest project. And yeah, so that's that. Yeah, and if anybody, we do have any, of course, I like to announce every month, if we have anyone who wants to give a 30-minute talk that's with slides and prepared, or it doesn't have to be that officially prepared, but just something that can flow pretty smoothly, then you're welcome to we'll get you in the schedule. And that, well, I offer that suggestion to the other clubs who might be running the meeting for whatever month it is. But we, all the 3 clubs, I believe, definitely like to have guest lectures or internal lectures. All right, well, for anybody who, okay, so Tom, anybody who has a show and tell, please post something to the chat. Yeah, I see Nicholas said the Latte Panda. I've been using Latte Panda for my device here, and it's been very good. And I just re-flashed the firmware, so it turns itself on as soon as you press the power, which is nice, instead of having to press as soon as you give it power, basically.
What version of the Panda do you have there, Jim?
My Latte Panda, I have the Latte Panda Delta. The Latte Panda is a full general purpose computer, the size of a, you know, not very large, not much bigger than a Raspberry Pi, really, a little bigger. And it can run Windows or Linux generally.
You have it handy, can you show us?
Yeah, if you want me to, sure.
Yes, please, please. I've heard about them, I've never seen one.
Yeah, so this is what it looks like right here. Let me try to get, I can even turn on this little light here. It's inside of a mount here, but that's a decent. See now, the Latte Panda, it's a single board computer. And it also has a built-in Arduino Leonardo, and I don't know if you can see there you can see the pin designations there, and I'm actually now using the Arduino, and I was going to demo the use of the Arduino directly from Windows, which is interesting, through Python. Now this is so it's a Windows. You can run Windows as well as Linux. You can flash it, and it has, if you can see on this is the back side of the board. I have it has 2 slots, M.2. If you're familiar with M.2 MCIA card or PCI mini cards, then it has 2 of those. One of them I put an SSD 1 terabyte drive in there. You can see it at the bottom. And then this one sticking out is the Coral AI TPU, dual TPU board. And I guess it's okay it's sticking out because it can get hot. So someone's shaking, Alan's shaking his head. Tell me, Alan, am I doing something wrong here? But this, I haven't got a converter. There's an adapter I think you can get to make it the full length. But this board, this M.2 board is a half length. And so it is working, but it's kind of sticking out like that because it doesn't have the, I guess I need an adapter then so I can screw it down. But
before you guys go any further, let me ask you this. This is the first time I did a Zoom meeting. Is there any way I can click onto this to enlarge the view, or is it all going to be small?
From the view menu.
You can click the little toggle button at the top right, and that'll toggle out of the gallery mode, or you can go to any individual video and mouse over it. You'll see a little blue box with the 3 dots.
Oh yeah.
You can pin the video, and that'll go to the full size.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you should be able to. Just some general things. So there's a full USB ports on this Latte Panda, multiple ports. It's got three of them at high-speed ports. It's got an Ethernet plug, which of course I'm using, and it can be powered in multiple ways. Right now I power it with this JTAG, or I forget what it's called, connector, 4-pin, 12 volts and 5 volts, 12 volt. Actually, this one's, I'm sorry, 12 volts. And that is designed to be powered right from your robot battery. It also has, you can plug it in to the wall, a wall power supply to the, it's got a, I forget what you call it, the USB, the modern USB connector, USB-C, is that what it's called? Which is like the same one on the iPhone. And so it's got multiple ways of powering. And I've been very happy with it. And I'm still discovering things like still getting into new things like the Arduino part. The Arduino part is a convenient thing because it's a separate computer or microcontroller running, and you could just flash code to it directly using the Arduino IDE, and it'll just run that code independently. Or what you can do is, I found this, if you want to control it from Windows, you can flash this particular code on it that acts as like a server, and then through serial, then from Windows, you can, or from any language, like several different languages like Python, you can, which also have the client side of that server implemented. So then you can send commands, and it does it over a built-in serial connection to a COM, a built-in COM, like to the Arduino. So the benefit is you don't have to use one of your external serial ports to communicate with the Arduino. And you can do it directly from another language, like Python, which I just was experimenting. And if you see here, I've created a pan tilt servo controlled. Well, I bought the parts and assembled it, and so it controls the pan and tilt, or pitch and yaw, of this AI camera, and that's now plugged into the Arduino ports on the Latte Panda. And now I wrote last night, wrote a demo program in Python that was a translation or porting of the C code that would do the same thing. So I had to learn a little bit about how you use the sort of this client server relationship. But it's working pretty well. And now I'm forgetting the name of it. Somebody can remind me, or I can bring it up here. But let me see. You can see the am I sharing the screen? Let me share the screen again.
Yes, you are.
You're sharing your camera.
Okay, now I'm sharing the screen. You can see both, right? The camera and my screen should be visible.
Yeah, we see your screen and the camera a little.
Yeah, so so in the Arduino, they have this thing called, it's Fermata is what it's called. I don't know if anybody's heard of Fermata, but it's a general protocol for communicating with microcontrollers from a host computer. And it's you just have to have a server side and a client side. And it allows you to work, to be able to send commands without having to define your own serial communication. You can it's more general purpose. So I've just started with it. I don't know how, I don't know all of its limitations yet, but it is pretty, it seems pretty useful to start with. And if I can, if I bring up my spider here. So I've really been happy with Python. Everything I've been working on, and all the different packages and hardware, and the AI cameras and that TPU board, and Google Assistant, and everything is available in Python. It's just like the catch-all. And so I'm glad that, well, through the AI SIG group and Dr. Bruce and everything, people were using Python a few years ago, and I thought, well, I'm just going to do that too. And it's really useful. I mean, it seems like every company that makes a product is going to have a Python interface. So if you can see this code that I'm showing here, this is a simple Blink Python script that accesses through PyFormata, which is the equivalent. This is so I can see what I'm doing here. PyFormata is the client side of Fermata. So I don't know if I finished my sentence here. You flash the Arduino with this standard Fermata, one of these Fermata scripts. There's a few of them. I have not checked out the other ones, but there's all these different ones here. There's one for analog, simple analog, a servo, but I just use the standard one, which handles general purpose, can handle servos and various things. So you flash that onto your Arduino, in this case, the built-in Arduino Leonardo, and then you leave it, and that just stays running. And then from the PC side, you then use whatever language you're using, like in Python, you use a PyFormata library, and you can access the Arduino board, and then through a simple command, and then you can start using the pins. And this one just turns off and on the little light, and so the more complicated one I just wrote is called the MoveOakD. There's some issues with this that you have to be aware of. When you're working in Python, the Arduino board is still actively writing to its serial port. And you need to be able to capture or iterate the output of that serial port, or it will overflow. eventually if there's something coming out on it. So you need to either put that in, you need to have a main loop in your Python code, or what you can do, which is convenient in Python, you can just create a separate thread, and they have a convention to do that, or a utility to do this, that you just give it you essentially create a separate thread that handles the serial port output. So that can just happen in the background. And if you don't have anything that you need to do with it, you can just let it use this this class that handles it. Otherwise, you can just put that into your main loop and grab whatever's happening in this serial. In this example, I didn't need it yet, so I've just used this thing, this extra thread. But this is what what's nice about this is now I can integrate all this Python into my main robot code, which is also, which is this big long thing. So, so I'll be able to move my servos directly from the Python code along with all the other AI stuff and everything. And I can show you later I can show you the Oak D camera, which is really cool. It can map or I could just show you a picture of that as well. It can map your the pose of your body. It can identify faces. It can do segmentation of a human against a background, like a green screen type thing. That's more basic functionality. But yeah, you can see that in my main loop in this Python code, I'm just making the servo do a sweep across its range horizontally and vertically. So, well, here, I might as well just show you if I run this.
Can you increase the font size? Really
sure. Hold on a second.
I second that.
Yeah, my apologies. That's a speaker faux pas, or usually a speaker requirement is you want to do that. Maybe what I can do is set this. This camera does have a stand. Why don't I just, so I don't have to hold it in my hand, I can just do that. And yeah, okay, is the code big now? It's pretty big.
Yep.
So what's nice is I can just hit F5 on this. Hopefully this thing is, there we go. So here's the code, and it's running, and it's just going through a pitch and roll test. Now, one thing I've just learned about servos since last night is that you don't want to just give it like an angle at the other end of its range, especially on this, and then on this rig, and then just tell it go to 0, and you happen to be at 90, then the thing like jerks over, and it goes, it produces such a torque that, or that the whole thing shakes, and it's not good. So I then just wrote a little code to gradually, well, first of all, I do have to set it initially to something known, and then after that, so there might be a little jerk, just one jerk at the beginning, and then from then on, if you see this code, when I set servo, I gradually move it from wherever it is to the designated target angle, and that produces this much smoother movement. And but this smooth movement you're seeing, the general movement here, is because I'm moving 1 degree at a time and all that. But that's essentially what happens if I say I want to just move the servo to some particular place, then it's going to also use a range. But yeah, it's just very comfortable programming in Python. And hopefully there's, I don't know what happens if you really need an interrupt or if you need to do some low level stuff. I don't know if that Fermata code is robust, but we'll see. Also, it's interesting when you have to, with Python, you handle, like if you just hit stop, then you'll notice it says here, well, I don't know if I can zoom in here, but when you hit the keyboard interrupt or you hit stop, you need to handle closing the board. Otherwise, the port will be left occupied, and you don't want that, or it will be left open. And so I just had to, I don't know how good the documentation is on PyFormata, but there's some examples and figuring it out. And so like when I get a keyboard interrupt, then I set the servos to home and then I exit. And or if there's an exception of some kind, then this is a clean exit, and now everything will work again. So that's that. What's interesting, that's my new take on an old concept, manipulating Arduino servos from Python instead of the standard C code, which, well, if you saw here, I have this pan tilt test, and this is the equivalent code. You know, it's servo.h and well, this is commented out, but basically set up and loop and all that. So I ported that over. Now what I was going to show is, let's see, I know where those pictures are that I sent them on email. So let's look at the AI SIG. That's weird.
Are your servos modified to do a readback, or is that just reading a stored value that represents the servo?
Yeah, I looked that up. The standard Arduino version, or the functionality when you do read, is it's the last value that was written. So I found that out. You can't read. I mean, well, these I don't know if I assume there exist servos that you can do that, but so for this one, like I said, I just write a known value, so it will jerk once when it starts up, kind of, and then from then on, the library keeps track of your the last thing you wrote. So that's good enough. I mean, but
yeah, I just wondered.
Yeah, it's now here's the RSSC using. Okay, I wanted to RSSC. Okay, join us. Trying to find my pictures that I sent. Oh, I guess that's because it's February 26th. Where is it? Can you join us tonight?
I think it's the very top one. Yeah.
Oh.
Now go back.
Okay, here it is. Do you see that?
Yeah.
I'm getting some feedback here. Hold on a sec. Okay, so here's a example of some of the things I have done with that OAK-D, and I can demo this at some point later, but it's a really cool really cool device, and it's an inferencing engine well, I guess I can turn the camera back to myself. It has a built-in inferencing system, which is its main thing. And of course, the stereo camera. And you can train models yourself with TensorFlow Lite and convert them to something that it can use. But it also has a lot of models that are pre-trained, ready for your experimenting, including this one, which is a human pose. And then this one is a YOLO V3 model. And you can see, this is an example. It's running at 13 frames a second. This is a more advanced model, the YOLO V3. So it's a little slower, but it can, it has objects and people in its repertoire. And you'll see here that there's a Z number for anything this does. This is a detection, what they call it, well, an AI detection. So it's putting a bounding box around objects. And what's nice about the Oak D versus just the regular Oak Oak camera is that it has the stereo cameras. It's got 3 cameras, and with the stereo, it figures out your Z. So this is telling me that it thinks I'm about 1.5 meters from the camera, and the chair is a little closer. And so that's really cool. I mean, my first goal is I wanted to try to follow a person, and obviously you're going to need to have something like this bounding box with detection and the Z coordinate, so you can tell how far you are. So when you move away from the robot, it sees this number going higher, and then it starts moving towards you. And now here's
Hey,
this
Jim.
is the output. Yes.
Jim, is this processing being done on the camera or
Yes.
on your Latte Panda?
This one is on the camera. It has a full inferencing engine and hardware. And I can go into I mean, more background on the Oak D. OpenCV AI. I might have said OpenAI. This is it's OpenCV AI kit.
I actually bought
to
one.
the Jawa?
What's that?
Is it similar to the Jawa?
Yeah, in a way. I mean, this is sort of this was a Kickstarter. It's sort of the next generation of that technology, and they have different products. So they have one that's not a regular, not a stereo, just a mono, which is still useful. But the Oak D is it's called the Oak One, and the Oak D you'll see is here. So the Oak D here is the computer vision powerhouse with spatial AI, and it's got a 12 megapixel camera, blah blah blah, and here's the image sensor resolution. Here's the Oak D, up to 120 FPS. I'm trying to find the processor. I guess I don't know why they're not saying the processor right up front. But yeah, this is what it looks like underneath the case. But yeah, it's got a very very high frame rate and decent resolution, decent field of view. And it does have a focus too. It can focus. It's not just totally fixed.
And then can you read data from this in Python or something?
Yeah, well, that's the goal. I mean, if you go back to so there's very detailed instructions, and I'm taking a class now that they've provided on their website that is teaching me how to use their demo. This is all using their demo app with different models. And then they have a part of the class is about using their API in Python. So I haven't got to, or I just started that one. So they go through various first go through their demo app and show you the different sections of how to start up the camera, how to get inference information from it, and image data as well. So from Python, you're able to get the, for instance, the bounding box, the labels, the XYZ, and then the actual image separately as well, and the depth image as well. So there's at least two different data paths: the image data and sort of neural net. They calling neural net data, metadata, and so all that's accessible from Python. I haven't done it yet myself. That's my goal. Is after looking at all these demos, I want to write some code that uses this for my purposes. But anyway, this last image here is in a color enhanced version, like a heat map of the depth. And my hand is the closest of my body, so it's a lighter color. And this sofa here is really bright red, which is is the closest object to the camera. So this is part of their examples. I mean, part of their, anyway, but I guess I don't need to show that live unless, well, maybe another, unless we have time or, but that's that OAKD, and I figured I wanted to mount it on the, on there. Actually, I guess I could show might as well, I guess I could run it live since we're already connected here.
For whatever it's worth, it uses the Intel AI chip.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't see that there, but
They kind of have it stashed down on the website, so.
oh, it is, okay. Well, wait, should I go, what did I just do? Oh, I disconnected. This is the, okay, this is the AI. Is it down here somewhere?
I don't know, I just searched on Google and that's what it gave me in the first return under buy and customize.
Oh. Buy OAKD. Yeah, so right now they're like $300. I was lucky. I was a backer, so I got it for half of that. I guess there's, I'm starting to watch things on Kickstarter, or if somebody sends me a link and it's something cool, I'll be like, well, I either buy it now for cheaper or put down some money, and if it looks good and if it looks like a seriously well done thing, or it'll be more expensive later. So it's something to think about. Yeah, here's the info. Anyway, all right, well. Yeah, it's funny they don't make the chip very OAKD. Ah.
Yeah, for that contest, I think they mentioned Intel, so they may be sponsoring that contest that they had.
Yeah, there is something with Intel, but yeah, that's, oh well, I won't bother. You guys can look that up. It's kind of a little, customization here. It's kind of no, that's not. It's kind of a hassle when they don't make it obvious, but yeah, it's an Intel chip, and it's pretty fast. So if we go back to here, you can see my screen here. Go back to this is this screen you're seeing is a remote desktop connection to the to my latte panda. That's what we're seeing here. And,
They say on the screen that on the advertisement that it's 4 teraops. It says it uses two 1x4 teraop processors. So I don't know how they get 4 teraops out of it.
oh, you mean it says it's using, that's weird. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. So
that's what it's doing.
yeah, it's pretty, oh, let me turn this off. So if I bring up my prompt here, and then I'm going to go to the different directory. This one here, Git, and then depth AI. So they have like, yeah, what's kind of cool is they give you a bunch of stuff to start with, examples to start with. Here, if you can see, there's not only, there's a first directory here with just the basic demo. And let's see, I wonder if I have it in my history. Oh, probably not. And then they have another directory with experiments. And what's nice, it's cool about this is there are a whole bunch of what they call the what's it called? The Open Vino, which is another. This is a big source of AI models, and that they've translated a bunch of these Open Vino models to use here. And so those are, other people are developing them. And so there's a lot of good models. Here you can see a list of some of the models: human pose, age, gender. All these are kind of ready to use, at least for our purposes. They're not necessarily hardened professional models, but for my purposes, they could be quite useful. So if I run here depth, the basic demo, depth AI demo, whoops, Python. So here, oops, now I need to, so this is where I need the code to move the servos around. So if you can see, this is their very most basic mode that it runs in, or the basic model, the default model. And it's identifying me as a person. This one isn't the best model, but it, it's displaying the depth. But there's many other models as well. I'm trying to see if I can identify something else. TV monitor. Yeah, I don't particularly like this particular model, but what you can do is, if you put that, if you look at the availability to this demo, whoops, -H, you'll see it has a lot of models that are ready to go. Like, well, you saw those screenshots were using these. Actually, maybe I'll just skip to one of the really cool ones. You can give you can have multiple convolutional neural networks, well, at least two in this case, combined, so that it will do a CNN1 and then pass the information to the second CNN. So for instance, you can do a facial detection. This one I think is the good one, retail 04. And then you can do facial landmarks, regression detail. So it will feed one into the other. It may be a little hard to see, but so you type CNN and then facial. Well, here, I'll just do this one first. So you can see it's tracking my face. Even when I go off the screen, like I'm halfway or more off the screen, off the edge, and it can still detect it. And as I get closer, now there is a minimum distance. Also I can get rid of some of the clutter there by doing -DD there. So now it doesn't show the depth. It's just the face. So what you can do is, leave that -DG. You can say -CNN2 and then put in, if I can get back to this one, the second CNN be like landmarks regression. I think it's you can do, it's a facial landmarks, I believe is the one I wanted. Well, I'm not sure now. These are all shown in videos that you can watch. Let's see, where I should have hit copy there. Where'd it go? I should have another window open. So facial landmarks. Did that copy it? I hope so. Okay, so this should hopefully work. Oh, that isn't one I've used. It'll download it if it you haven't used it yet. If you haven't used a particular model, it'll download it, process it. It comes in a form that needs to be processed, and it's a whole bunch of stuff, but an XML file for different attributes or different settings that you can sort of tweak the model or how you want it to behave. And then it post-processes it and then saves it. So the next time it'll come up really quickly, but the first time is, it takes it all. I think that other model, let me open a second window here. Yeah, it might have been that other landmarks one that I was. Let's try going here, but Python. Nice to have the help available. Yeah, that's taking a while. So this, I think it might have been, yeah, there's the problem with these things is the names are not really necessarily easy to understand, although this emotion ones will, like, it'll tell you if you're happy, angry, confused, and it's pretty well done. It's fairly, just a small smile will say happy, reasonably well trained. Yeah, this landmarks one, I think that might be the one I wanted. This, yeah, of course, this Latte Panda is not the fastest machine. So this post-processing, let's see what's going on. I don't think it's using the whole, oh, well, yeah, it's not even using the whole CPU. But there's not a lot of memory in this thing. Well, I don't know if I should wait for this. It's taking forever.
That Latte Panda is a dual processor Celeron.
Yeah, it's yeah, I think that's accurate. You can see the where's this PC here, properties. So yeah, it's an Intel Celeron 1.1 gigahertz N4100, 4 gigabyte. No, yeah, and it's a great, great for a robot. I mean, and to have this flexibility for the brain of the robot is just, it's quite, I mean, it's quite capable, let's say.
Yeah, the big advantage is being able to plug the GPU into it.
Yeah, so I plugged that in, and okay, there it goes, finally. Let's see. Oh, this is a new one. I haven't used this one before, but it's really tracking a lot of things, or a lot of, I don't know if you can see.
Yeah, it's personal ID, looks like. Can you blow that screen up a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know how to blow it up. Well, the only thing I might be able to do is change the resolution of the screen.
Can you drag the edge of it?
Oh, wait a minute. No, you can't on this because it's a set. Isn't there a thing called magnifier that for for Axe Assistant or?
Yeah, it's under
Yeah. Windows has that. You just there it is.
There we go. Yeah, for the what do you call it? Accessibility. Oh, that's much better. That's 200.
Like facial ID stuff.
I can't look at it and also look at the screen.
That's sweet. Yeah, that's really good, Jim.
So that one, that one's making a bunch of points. Now the other model that I didn't realize I had never tried that one, but let me get back so I can.
That works really well.
So let me cancel that. And the other one that I have already used is this one, regression. Let's see where it is. Landmarks regression retail. Let's see. Dash CNN2, and then landmark. Okay, there we go. So it's taking the result of this facial detection and then passing it to the second CNN, because you need to do that, because otherwise, the second CNN, the landmark is it's only expecting a face basically. So it needs to have the first CNN run. Here we go. Okay. So now let's go back to that magnifier. God, my memory is good. I remembered about that I totally hadn't thought about that magnifier before. Oh, except, yeah, let's find the darn thing.
It's up to the right. There
Okay, you see that? So you see here, it maps your nose, your eyes, and the corners of your mouth. And even going off, I'm like going off the screen, still pretty good. So this is a simpler one. Now I've turned off the depth. Yeah, you can always have the depth in. Anyway, yeah, so it's, the depth is going to be really useful for robots when the robot's moving and I want it to find objects or whatever. So there's a lot you can do here. And I particularly like the that human pose one, which is because I was working with the what do you call it, the Xbox Connect, and that's the sort of the old. It's an old device, and but it could handle, it could do pose detection of sorts, and but now I probably won't need to even pursue that old device anymore, because the newer, just visual based pose detection is quite good. Oh, did it crash? Yeah, that looks like it.
Alex does.
CNN human pose detection 1. I think this is the right one.
And I may have stepped away for a second. What's the name of this software?
You mean this thing? This is the Depth AI demo, and it's we're talking about the Depth AI Oak D camera.
Oh, it's the camera.
Yeah, it's an AI camera. And from this organization that the Depth AI group, where am I?
It's very impressive.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, I didn't know how good it might be when I kind of pledged money, but well, I could see that it had a huge following and people were very excited about it.
How much did you pay for it?
Well, right now it's, I mean, I only paid like 150, but now it's, I mean, because I was a pledge, but it's $300 is the current price. But even I would probably even pay, I mean, I would probably buy it for that too, because it is
That's
quite
amazing.
good.
Yeah.
And this is before training it, by the way. You can train it yourself, and I may do that if I find something that I want to train. I'm just testing it to see if something was broken here. I might have used the wrong pose estimation. Is there a different one? Face detection, human pose estimation. Oh, mobile net V2 pose estimation. Maybe that's the right one or the good one. I thought it was this one, but oh no, that's not it because it's downloading. Huh. But yeah, you saw that if this doesn't come up, that the pose estimation is what you saw in that picture. So it's it's, yeah, I'll stop share for now, but I think you've got the showing you a bunch of stuff that you can do. So this is going to be a real benefit to the robot, and I hope to achieve some something like following a person, identifying faces, and tie that all into the behaviors of the robot, and the speech recognition and all that. I don't know if you saw, if whoever was here the last time, I was using that little board, the AI TPU board, and was able to, with just a webcam connected and having it, I asked the robot, what do you see? And it said, oh, I see a book or a TV. And that was just, so I have that little board as well. I don't know, that's kind of obsolete now because of this thing, but, or maybe it's useful in other ways. It was relatively cheap. That little board was only like $40, but you have to have a Latte Panda, or you have to have a device that can accept that M.2. But that one is, that's a pretty cool, that's a pretty cool board to start with. But this camera really is quite, there's a lot I can get out of it. And oh. Anyway, okay, so any interesting things on the chat here? Well, yeah, I'll conclude with that, and we can move on to the show and tell segment. Yeah, we're at 11:30, so that was our original time. We wanted to move over to the chat, I think, right? Or yeah, 11:15, or we're a little past. So so Thomas had a chat. I mean, Thomas wanted to present, and then Alan, and we'll start with them. So Thomas, if you're ready, please
Well,
commence.
why don't we go to Alan first? Give me a minute.
Or Alan.
Alan, you're next. Oh, Alan's got his mouth full.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, no problem. Just a super quick update on my never-ending Todd project that's almost always almost done. Let me go ahead and share a portion of my screen and kind of show you where I'm at this week.
Yes, next time.
There we go. Oh, no. I'll figure it out. No. Hold on, I'm just figuring out the screen sharing portion of it. All right, almost there. There we go. All right, so I've been working on the wiring harness, the wiring diagram for them. The initial one was a super nightmare. You had like a dozen interconnected components and they were all soldered together. And you had to gently remove the connectors and solder the BMS to the LiPo, which can be potentially very exciting if you get it wrong. So in this version, I wanted to use more connectors to make it more modular and maybe a little bit less exciting when something goes wrong. So I still have a little bit of a nightmare over here. I'm trying to get the lead lengths down so that it's a one shot. I then broke out the buck down in the power switch and the BMS and fuse into separate modules. And so far, in theory, everything plugs together really well, and it's a lot less exciting to connect. The one downside is that there is not, it's still in the same frame, and there's not quite enough room for all the connectors. All those 3-pin and 2-pin connectors that you thought were super small and normal size stuff end up being pretty darn big when you want to go tiny. So I'm trying my best to figure out how to cram everything in without changing the dimensions. The worst case scenario is I extend the width and the length of the frame by 4 millimeters each way. And then I extend the depth of the bucket, the bottom part, by 4 millimeters. And at the end of the day, I'm stressing out over nothing. It's not going to be that much bigger. I'm just totally fixating on the size of them. But I was able to power them up last week without blowing anything up. So far, so good. There was a filter capacitor on the I2C servo driver board that I didn't have room for. So I went ahead and wired one back in with an extended lead to make it a little bit easier to place. But yeah, the way things are, there is not quite enough room for everything to fit in the bucket. And so instead of, finishing them or making them walk or do anything, I guess I'm going to fixate on that for the next week or two until I have that solved. And then I'll continue working on moving the framework from ROS 1 to ROS 2. There's a special interest group that was linked to from the homebrew guys that I've been trying to attend when I can. They have a different ROS 1 project, and they meet weekly to talk about the process of migrating that code base from ROS 1 to ROS 2. So there's a lot of overlap. I'll try to make that one out this week, and I'll post a link to the forum if I can find it over on the homebrew side.
Alan.
Yeah.
Is that the final wiring diagram? I have the old one. Can you send me the new one? Or is this still a work in progress?
It's still a work in progress. I'm happy to share it with you, but until I have everything assembled back in the frame, I don't know if I can consider it final. You know what I mean?
Okay, I'll wait.
I can say that it works. There's not enough room for these extra connectors in the bucket yet, but I'll get a copy over to you for sure.
Yeah, I'm still amazed at how you fit all those wires in a tiny Todd.
Yeah, they almost fit before, but when we added in the extra, like the 4 or 5 or 6 extra connectors, makes it much easier to assemble and plan for, but there's just not enough room in that bucket. So we'll see what I do over the next week or two.
that was my whole motivation to make the big boy Todd, because I just couldn't fit all those wires in the regular Todd.
Yeah, it turns out I can't either. So
Hey, Alan, what are all these boards again? This looks like a Raspberry Pi hat, or the Pi Zero, then the controller or hat is the one above, and then the IMU, is that right? And then this other one is a buck converter, or that little board to the, yeah.
yeah, so this is the power delivery is a 2S LiPo that delivers about 7.4 volts. I soldered in a 2 amp fuse, I think, in line to give me some level of safety when something shorts. And then that plugs into the LiPo, and then after a quick kickstart, you can connect it over to the BMS, which will buck the 7.4 down to about 5.05, as close to there as possible. The Raspberry Pi Zero isn't super sensitive, but it wants you to get as close to 5-volt USB as possible. And because the C rating of the LiPo is so high, even with the buck down converter and the thing, I'm actually doing something it's not advised, but so far I can get away with it, which could work in my favor or not, is I'm using a single power supply for both the electronics and the motors. And that's because even though I've got 8 micro servos running off of it, the potential power delivery is so big, is so great, that so far I haven't had any brownout conditions, but I am worried about filtering it. So I'm going to put in the wire back in the filter cap. Not that I had anything lock up, but I did lose a few micro SD cards, so that could be the culprit. But I'm not sure. But yeah, I tried to file in as much stuff that I thought would be fun as possible. The library and the driver for the IMU has been out for years, and it's very easy to code for, and there's a ROS1 module. The ultrasonic sensor was a little bit fun. It requires a 5-volt power. And I have that, right, because I'm going to power the servos, and then that 5-volt goes into the Raspberry Pi Zero, which then gets reduced to the 3.3 volt for all of the fun stuff. And the trigger, you can actually trigger the ultrasonic with a 3.3 volt pulse. So I can just wire a straight line from a digital IO out over the trigger to kick off that ultrasonic pulse. The problem is the return. The return's a 5-volt return. And if you feed 5 volts into your Raspberry Pi, you're going to fry the pin. So I kind of went ghetto fabulous and wired in a quick voltage divider that gets you down to very close to 3.3 volts, so you don't blow up the pin. And last time I had it together, all of this worked. And I don't want to say it's the best solution, but from a get her done approach, it seemed to work pretty well.
Yeah, you can drop it all the way down to 2 volts, and it should still be good and protect your Pi a little better.
Oh, right on. Maybe I'll change one of the values for my next when I build this back out. Thanks for the tip.
The other thing I'll tell you is the early Raspberry Pis and the Pico or the Zeros may still be running the early software. If you turn the power off without doing a shutdown, that would corrupt the SD card.
Oh, that's also possible. A lot of times I would just shut the power off. So you're saying, oh.
Yeah, unless you do sync, you know, you have to, the old school, right?
Yeah.
You gotta sync the disks before shutdown, which generally, well, that's happens when you do a shutdown dash now or whatever. It's running Linux, right? Or
Basically, the files need to be closed before you shut down. So you have to make sure the files are flushed and closed.
Flushed and closed, but that's on the command line. You can just say sync. That was the old-fashioned way, or just do shutdown. Use the shutdown command.
Yep.
Shut down now. Oh,
Yeah.
but what was the capacitor you were saying you're trying to smooth out power, like from having too much variance?
Well, yeah, there's a on the board by default, they wire in a decently sized filter capacitor to help smooth out the the bumps in power delivery from when you're running all of the servos.
Oh,
I didn't have room for it, so I just took it out. In
well,
retrospect, that might have been a bad idea. So I'm going to wire it back in and see if that helps.
oh, I see. Yeah, because that could be important, right? Because of the you've got back RF or something, don't you? Or
Yeah, the servos do some nasty stuff.
Yeah.
You could
Alan?
leave that current capacitor remote and then put a smaller one down at the bottom of the leads.
Yeah.
That will help. Because that'll keep the,
Can I use
that'll-
like a simple ceramic, like
yes,
okay.
that will take the noise out of those wires that you just added, those little antennas.
Alan, how many microfarads are you using on that capacitor?
Here, let me take a quick look. It's whatever it came with the board, and it is rated 1,000. UF is microfarad, right? 1,000
Yes.
microfarad at 10 volt.
Thank you.
Now, if you anyone can help me understand what that means, I just know it's a filter cap.
Yeah. 1,000 microfarads a lot, and 10 volts is reasonable because you usually want it to be twice the supply voltage you're applying.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go higher in capacitance. That's the microfarads.
I don't think there'd be any reason to go
And
more than
as
1,000.
long as you're yeah, and as long as your voltage is, within a certain margin, at least 15% or so, it needs to be rated higher. You can always go higher in voltage. You can't go lower. But when I design, I tend to design for it like 25% over as far as voltage.
With electrolytics, you can't go, if you go too high in voltage, you won't get sufficient capacitance because it won't form properly.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, it's true. And with tantalum, if you go too high, they won't form at all. And if you go too low, they'll break down.
Alan, do you have an oscilloscope?
Oh yeah, I've got it around here somewhere. And
What you can do is you can kind of take a look visually at what your DC lines look like in terms of noise by just scoping off across that capacitor. Just sort of connect your negative to a ground and your positive at the capacitor to the other, the normal signal input to your scope, and you can then see how much noise you've got on your DC lines, and then you can tinker with other smaller capacitances, as was suggested, closer to the board itself across your filter capacitor.
Okay, yeah, that's a
Yeah, I would like to just comment on that, if you don't mind. I had situations in my life. I'll give you one example. I went to work for a company subcontracted because their embedded computer system kept failing, kept crashing, and I said, "Well, I think you've got noise on your rails, on your power supply." And they said, "Oh no, we hooked up an oscilloscope to it." And I said, "Well, let me bring mine down." And I have a gig scope, so it measures in the gigahertz range. And what they didn't see was that they had these huge spikes that were happening up in, around a gigahertz. And so if your scope isn't fast enough, it may not see those.
All right, yeah, good to know. And I like the idea of when in doubt, sample, right? When in doubt, scope it out. Y'all, I'll give it a shot next time I have it assembled. Thank you.
And hey, Alan, which IMU is that again? Is that which model is it?
So I think this is the 9-axis. These are always mislabeled too.
I mean, is it the 29? Is it that standard one, like the 2950 or something like that?
Here on the front, it's labeled MPU 9265, but I don't think that's helpful.
Yeah, 90.
A 9-axis.
It looks familiar. That looks like the one I had, the 92 whatever. But you're using so there's a good ROS support for that.
Yeah, there is in ROS 1.
Oh, you're in ROS 2, aren't you, on this?
So that'll be one of my challenges. Is I'm not even a passable C++ coder. Like, I get the concepts, but it's not where I live. And I don't know if anyone has had the pleasure of. Well, here I'll just.
I can help you with C++, but you know.
So let me show you. Well, that was very Yoda-like how I typed that in. So the big thing is the source code and the build system, and there is information out there. So you don't have to guess a lot, but you have to understand the architecture of the ROS 1 and the ROS 2 target, as well as the different build systems. And you have to be able to understand all of this. I'm scrolling quickly just because there's a lot. And it's on my list. And earlier I'm like, it's too early. Well, we might be at a tipping point now. And well, what is a hobby if not something to do to take up your time? So I'm gonna after I finish obsessing over the wiring diagram and the size of the frame, I'll be joining that special interest group tomorrow and work on either finding or migrating some of these pre-existing ROS 1 packages to ROS 2.
So but Todd runs on ROS 1 right now, is that?
Yeah, I did have him up on ROS 1. So figure a stretch goal, like get them working over on ROS 2.
But yeah, but it's nice to know that you can do well all that stuff on ROS 1 and using the IMU and the various boards and and the servos and everything worked pretty well. Sounds like.
It did. Yeah.
I haven't done a ROS project. It's on my list.
Yeah, so it's a fun little thing. If and when I ever get it done, it's a really inexpensive ROS 2 like development thing. It's like maybe $170 to $100 in parts, and then you can practice with ROS remote, and your ROS robot is as smart as the laptop or desktop you have it connected to. It's neat. I just need to finish it. Maybe I need to stop fixating on the details and just get her done.
Yeah, then we could. Yeah, then you can share the latest. We could all build it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, that's all I got. Thank you.
All right, guys, I'm gonna step out. Love the meeting, and see you guys at the next one.
All right, yeah, good to have you, Ben.
Yep,
thanks.
see you, Ben. Nice seeing you.
Yeah, let's see. So next we had, I think, Thomas.
I'm ready.
Yeah, go ahead, Thomas.
I gotta go too, guys. I'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Here, Les.
See ya. Bye, Les. See you later.
Bye-bye.
All right. So I have 2 cameras going. It's going to be on the other camera. Let's see. Is the other camera broadcasting? I don't see it.
How do you do 2 cameras? Oh, you mean
And my phone is plugged
But
in.
you got your phone.
Yeah.
I don't. Let's see. Where is it?
Yeah, pin the other one. If you see the hand there, that's the other phone. I mean, that's the other line.
Does anybody see
Connected
it?
twice or?
Disappearing into your background,
Oh,
Thomas.
yeah, there it is. It's got a picture of a blouse.
Yeah. Let's get up to the face of the robot there.
There's the head of the blouse.
The head of the blouse. Yeah. Let me turn some lights on so you can see this robot here.
Oh, it says bandwidth is
My other
low.
camera. Try that. Let me take off the background. Oops. Didn't mean to do that.
You know, yeah, if you have a webcam, Thomas, you could always, a second webcam, you can plug that in instead of.
You know, it wasn't working so well. The throughput was really bad, so I'm going back to my my webcam regular. But I gotta turn off the background just a second.
Yeah, the connection is kind of yeah, from the phone isn't
Really bad.
okay. I see that.
My newest robot. We've seen her in bits and pieces here and there. This is Simone.
Ah.
A little bit more. I'm gonna back up a little bit. And
Is Simone single?
yeah, but she's too young for you. She's only about a month old.
Oh my goodness.
Let me turn on some more lights. She's kind of in the dark here. Give me a second. He has a bottom half too, which is not connected. There, that should be a bit better. She's still pretty dark there. So she's she has let me think. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 degrees of freedom. She's got a animatronic head, and the right arm is mounted. The left arm is not. Haven't gotten that far yet. And she's running on Easy Robot. And I just wrote a very quick Hello World script. Yeah, very quick. It took me 4 hours. So let's see if we can wake her up here. Okay, this is not verbal. I'm just clicking on a button. So, okay, Simone, wake up.
Say, how many functions does the head have?
The eyes blink. They move left, right, up and down. The head tilts forward, backwards, and left and right.
And the mouth?
I'm sorry? The
Oh,
mouth?
does the mouth move?
Yeah, the mouth moves too. It moved, but you probably didn't see it. It went a little bit too fast.
Awesome.
Let's see. There we go.
Oh, she barks.
Yeah, she barks too.
Amazing.
So she has a pedestal. I'm going to show you that in a second. There's her pedestal. She has silicone rubber feet.
Oh wow.
Nothing is articulated on the base, on the pedestal. I call that the chariot. But the chariot itself, that's a toy that a ride-on toy that actually works pretty well. The only downside is I haven't changed the electronics, so it's pretty much kind of jerks when it starts. I've been working with Ron Rose trying to put in a circuit that would smooth that out. So this is as far as I've gotten. I still intend to put in another servo into the arm to let it twist, because right now it's only got the shoulder and the elbow. The elbow, I just changed out the servo. Yeah, duct tape, it works wonders. It's one of the 4 strong forces of the universe, isn't it? This is a wonderful servo. It came with a bracket. This is a 60 kilogram centimeter servo with a bracket, really nice bracket. And I just replaced that last night, only took 2 hours. I'm using this stuff here, which is really great. This is the, what is it called again? I don't remember it. I got to look at the box. Maker Beam. Maker Beam is kind of pricey, but God, it goes together so fast. You don't have to 3D print anything if you're not good at 3D printing. I don't have the patience for 3D printing. So between this servo with the bracket and the Maker Beam, this thing went together fairly quickly. It goes up here to the shoulder. It has a second motor in the shoulder. You can get to it. Kind of covered it with papers to give her some sort of a shoulder. Otherwise, she'd have no shoulder. Just take some tissue on there for a shoulder. The motor's in there. I guess you can't see it too well. Anyway, it's the same motor. It's not strong enough for the shoulder. I have 2 on order from China. Those are 400 kilogram centimeters, which is approximately what, 25 foot-pounds? Somebody want to do the math, but those won't arrive for another month. They're coming directly from China. This is part of the Open Fembot project that I've started. We're going to be sharing everything so you can build your own. Yes. I've written an article for Servo magazine, and that should be out this month, they told me. Look for it in Servo magazine March issue. It's going to be a series on building this thing, Open Fembot.
So Thomas, this 25 foot-pound servo, where were you using that at?
That's going to be used in the shoulder.
The shoulder.
The shoulder only goes so far.
Uh-huh.
The elbow motor seems to be really good at 60 kilogram centimeters, which is about 6 foot-pounds or something.
And the elbow is 6
Really
foot-pounds?
impressive, these servo motors. I haven't seen them like this in the industry before. So this is really getting out there. Unless you build them yourselves or you print out the in-move robot, which actually gears down all the servo motors to something really useful. So, oh, by the way, the torso, the upper torso is actually one of the Elvis Presleys, the Elvis Alive, which I've very much over customized to make it work for myself. That'll all be documented. Her skin is silicone. It's very pliable there. I bought that online. The hand is silicone. It doesn't have any movement in it. It's pretty much still at this point. In future versions, I'll articulate the fingers, but that may not be this year.
So the face you bought, was that some kind of an Android site? Where did you get the face?
They're all over the internet. It's for cosplay. People who want to be different characters put on these masks, believe it or not.
So that's actually a mask?
I'm sorry?
It's actually a mask?
It's a mask. You want to see? I have another one here. Here's what they look like when you first get them. It's actually fully enclosed, but I cut the back out there, and eventually I cut it off completely so I could access it, because getting the mask on and off is too difficult.
And how did you hook up the actuators to make things move, like the eyes?
Well, again, this was an Elvis Presley, and if I have one in the other room, I could get the Elvis without any masks on it.
So in other words, rather than saying that she has Betty Davis eyes, she has Elvis Presley eyes?
She has Elvis Presley eyes. She does. She might as well be Elvis's daughter, for that matter.
Oh, that's great.
So to hook up the eyelids, how did you attach that?
Glue.
Ah, what kind of glue? Just curious.
Silicone glue. Silicone will
I can
stick to
show you.
silicone.
I have a
Very good.
glue. It's really sticky. I've stuck my fingers together more than once.
Oh, yes.
Scotch weld. Plastic and rubber instant adhesive.
Well, that means, Thomas, once you glue the mask on, you'll never be able to take it off without damaging it.
That's exactly right. That mask is not coming off.
Perhaps a little, maybe glue on a little block of something with screws on it.
Well, the ultimate way to do it is to use little magnets to hold it on and be able to take it on, put it off.
Yeah,
very
that's
quickly.
That's a good idea.
Who does that? Garner Holt does that, doesn't he?
Yes. Not hard to do, but it's tricky.
No, I noticed her blinking. Are you doing it manually, or do you have a little program to make her blink, make her look human?
That's running from the Easy Robot software called ARC, and it's on a program.
Can each eyelid be moved independently, or are they tied together?
They can be moved independently. She can wink at you.
What's the, do you have an Arduino, or is this to run her?
Oh, he's using Easy Robot. Run the whole thing.
Right there.
Oh, so the Easy Robot hardware, yeah, the hardware that they sell, right?
That's right. That's about $100 out the door.
That one's pretty well. It has all the capabilities and more of an Arduino Mega, right, or something. I mean,
Yes, it has what is it? 23 ports, 23 I/O ports, which you can plug your servos directly into. I'm giving it 5 amps through the circuit here. So it has a lot of horsepower to power these very powerful servo motors. Hasn't burned out one yet.
Do they get hot?
What?
The servo motors?
The servo motors? No, the servo motors are not getting hot.
do you have the arm? Did you say you have the arm not quite moving yet?
I have it, the arm moving. You want to see it? I can demo it. Just a second.
Yeah, let's show us the arm. There you go.
Neat.
So you were talking about the shoulder motor. You said it was 25 foot-pounds. What did that run?
Yeah.
What did that cost?
Gosh, about $50.
Oh, okay.
These things used to be $1,000 plus the high torque servo motors, but they've come down in recent months.
Well, that's awesome.
What's that?
That's an awesome price.
Yeah, and like I said, this other one, let me get it out of the box.
Nice.
This is what you get in the mail now. I think this was $60. I'd have to check my account. Yeah, $60, 60 kilogram centimeters. Again, this is, somebody do the math. I think that's like 6 foot-pounds, 5 foot-pounds or something.
But that's for the elbow, isn't it? You said the shoulder
I'm
was.
using this for the elbow and the shoulder, but I'm going to replace the shoulder motors. It's not enough torque for the shoulders.
Right, and the shoulder motors, how much are they going to cost?
Well, these are about $10 more with the brackets.
Is that the shoulder motor or the elbow motor?
I'm using this motor for both.
Okay, but what would the shoulder motor cost you?
The shoulder motor didn't come with a bracket, so it was about $10 cheaper.
Oh, okay. So that was about 40
This is a
bucks.
really nice bracket.
Uh-huh.
If you want to articulate a joint, give a robot an arm that can lift a whole lot of force, lift a whole lot of stuff, lift a beer. You want to use something like this, you can lift a full beer with this.
Yeah, you'll have to text me the address to get that.
I can post that later.
Okay.
Hey, I noticed you have a SanDisk Cruiser flash drive sitting on the counter there. And I'm pretty sure that's a SanDisk Cruiser.
Could be. Under the motor, yes.
Under the motor. I just wanted to let people know that right now at Costco, they're on sale for $28 each for 256 gigs.
Wow.
It's not bad. And they do tend to hold up. I have about 7 of them at this point. The first ones, the early ones got quite warm. The newer ones do not.
All right. Any more questions about this before I end off this?
Yeah, Thomas, would it make any sense so that you don't have to use as powerful torque-wise at the shoulder some kind of less torquey motor connected to a pulley and cable arrangement connected to the elbow from the shoulder?
In a
Sort
short
of like our,
answer,
sort of in the way that our muscles work. We obviously don't lift our shoulder with just a single kind of energy device. It's usually distributed, from shoulder to elbow in order to lift that arm. So I'm just wondering if maybe you could use a smaller rated kind of servo with a pulley and cable arrangement to actually lift the arm from the shoulder.
He doesn't have the space inside the body to be able to set that up, unfortunately.
yeah, when you're dealing with mannequins, which are human forms, there's a very limited amount of space, and it's all curved and hard to put anything inside. If and when I do another one of these, I'm going to start with the inside and work out, and the body will actually be a clamshell that'll go over the top of a framework, a skeleton. But this is the idea on this was get it done as quickly and as cheaply as possible. And if you had a choice between quick and cheap, quick won over cheap, because cheap you could always do more and more of it yourself. And instead of putting something together in 2 to 5 years, this thing came together in less than a year, part-time.
I got a question in regards to the wheels on your base. Did you buy something and take it apart, or did you buy those wheels as is? Is there some?
I added casters to this, and the wooden circle
$6.
there. The rest of it came as is. It was a ride-on toy, a children's toy.
But you had to buy the whole toy and you took it apart. Is that what you did?
Yeah, $150.
Oh, okay. You can't buy those wheel assemblies just by themselves then.
You might be able to, but I don't know where.
Okay.
I'm sure you can, Tim. A lot of people are selling a lot of these kind of parts on the internet just
For what he had to put together, this was the easiest, cheapest route to go.
This thing took me about 10 hours start to finish. So that's pretty good for a platform.
Harbor Freight has a lot of that kind of stuff.
It's very easy to run. I mean, it comes with the remote control. You pop the motor on. It's got the batteries built in. You just charge it up and.
That was a toy, huh? That base.
That was a toy. Exactly. Look at that. The only thing it doesn't do it's
Neat.
jerk, which is really I'm trying
You
to.
you couldn't for the money. You couldn't buy the components separately at the money he bought for the whole toy.
Exactly, because you got the battery, you got the charging circuit, you've got, it actually has a light sequence that I could have put around it that flashes when the thing's running, but I didn't put it on. It's attached, the feet are attached with these floor flanges, and iron pipe goes up through the legs. You can see the iron pipe coming out through the top there.
What is the name of the toy?
Yeah, good question.
I'd have to look it up. It was some sort of a bumper car. Let me see. I'll do a quick search.
Oh, it was a bumper. It was a car. Huh?
Bumper car. Let me see. Amazon.
Was it something big enough for a small child to sit in or something?
Yes, yes.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah. Let's see.
You
Amazon.
never know where you're gonna. We should have a class on recovering robot parts and from consumer products.
Yeah, they're still there. $169. I'll put the link in.
Consumer off the shelf.
Now, off the shelf. That was the idea of this. You just want to. Oops, I sent it to Ellie. My mistake. Ellie left. Okay, try it again.
So, in psychology, they have something called the Rorschach test. Well,
Oh yeah.
Well, when I'm walking through a store, I'm sort of like that. I'll see a trash can. I'll think, oh, that's the body of a robot. Or I'll say, that's the head of a robot. So I see things and I see robot parts.
Yeah, I don't have that skill yet. I need to go more into the hardware. I'm a software guy, so it doesn't come easy.
Well, most people don't think of stuff like that when they're looking at things in the store.
I used to date this. I used to date this girl, and she had this cat and would go to Petco, and I'd see all this stuff for pet supplies, like a storage container for pet food. And I thought that'd make a perfect body. And I ended up building a robot called Petco, which is made from all these parts from the Petco store.
Well, why don't you go get it, Tim? We want to see it.
Well, I guess I could bring it. I can show you. You know, I have my Folgers robot here.
Well, show me show us, Tim.
Okay.
I'm done. Any other questions before I end off?
Yeah, I was just curious about the eye blinks. They're not randomized.
There's a bit of random. It's literally. Let me look at the software here, the script.
I think I see a little bit.
3 to 4 seconds. Every 3 to 4 seconds.
Yeah, you wrote the code, right?
I wrote the code.
Well, you want to make it look like it's alive. You like blink its eyelids, move its eyes every little once in a while. Just the lifelike look. Turn the head, move the lips a little bit.
Yeah, that's coming. I just got this together while we were waiting.
You can make the eyes roll when somebody says something stupid.
The eyes don't roll. They go.
Have them roll up.
They don't roll. They go left and right.
They only go up and down, left and right. So you can't.
No, they don't go left and right. You don't go up and down.
Well, you can't make them go left and up and have them go up into the corner.
No.
Right?
No, not with the Elvis mechanics now.
Oh, I see.
The mechanics I have in my talking skull, yes, I can do that.
Yeah, it would seem like it.
Technically, roll the eyes. Yes, you could.
You can.
You could.
Oh, okay. So if you, for instance, make the eyes go left and make the eyes go up, they will go at a diagonal up to the corner.
Yeah, I can do that. It's a little complicated.
Okay. No, that's what I was saying. Yeah, because you can proportionally to do that to make the eyes roll. Okay.
Yeah. Well, Thomas has the uncanny valley sign, but he's really trying to get out of that valley.
Yeah,
right?
That's true. We want her more and more natural. All right. Any other questions before I end off? I'm done then. Thank you very much.
But I guess I can enlarge my own picture so I can. So when I show you guys, I can see a large view of what's going on.
Looks like Steve Cook's got something interesting.
Okay, are you guys ready to see my Folgers robot?
No.
Yeah.
It shouldn't take too. Are you ready?
Yeah, we're ready for it. Show us your robot.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so check out the head. So inside this head came potato salad, and when I looked at it, I thought that would make a neat head for a robot. So then I used the Folger can for the body, and you can see these recesses where you grab the handles. Well, I thought it'd be neat to have these brackets coming off and putting this PVC pipe. And this way, it's almost like this almost works as a shoulder, like an armpit, I guess. And this is the shoulder. And then I have the whole body sitting on one of these tin cans you get, you know, like whatever.
Cookies.
Yeah, cookies. And then I got the feet. The legs are made out of seltzer cans, and the bottom one is herring cans, like a herring tuna. Okay, and
Can you
then
back it up so we can see the whole thing at once?
I have to go
Back it up. Back it up. Back. There you go.
Wow, that's quite classic looking.
Yeah.
Classic robotics.
Okay, now I'm going to take the Folger can off for a second. So I moved the bottom lid off of the bottom can, and you can see I have these pipes that go through it. And I thought that I could run wires down here into the base and put like motors in the base, so it'd run on motors and that.
Are those pipes used for like lamps?
Yeah, it's what they are.
Very cool.
Yeah, and like I said, and I bought 4 cans of this tuna stuff and peeled this thing off, and they have hex spacers, and I have screws that hold these the tops and bottoms together. Okay. Now, if I take the top off of, I take the head off right here. Okay, there's nothing in there, and I guess if I wanted to, I could put something inside the head. But anyway, if you look underneath the folder or underneath the can, okay, you see a little. This is a motor assembly. Okay, and that turns the it turns the upper body, turns the Folgers can in respect to this green one, sort of like a robot on Lost in Space. So the idea is you could turn the top body around like 360. So
Danger, Will Robinson.
yeah. And so another thing too, it's not crazy, I don't know what, but you can see this. I actually built this container to store it in, and it has a plywood door that slides down from the top. So the whole thing is the storage for it. This is the first time I opened it, and probably in about 5 years. Got the robot out. But
Tim, when did you first start coming to the Robot Society?
When?
When? What year?
Which one? The one you started way back in 40.
In this one, the RSSC.
When you first started it?
No, I didn't start the RSSC.
What's the RSSC?
Robotic Society of Southern California.
Oh, that one. Oh, I started that back in, gosh, probably like 1980 something.
You were one of the first members from 1980?
I don't know. I just know it could have been like maybe 1995, you know. But anyway, like I said, I put a handle on this thing so I could carry it around. But my goal was to try to build this thing for about $200, and the price tag was going up and up. And I just kind of quit because I thought to myself, is it really worth investing that type of money for something so small? You know, I kind of thought something bigger would be nicer, you know. And I think, well, you know, I did actually buy sprockets, and little, like right here has a little sprocket, for example. I don't know if you can see at the end. You know, it's going to have cut a hole here and have a chain going through here and having a motor, so it would turn the shoulder, and then this wire would come out into the arms and that. But anyway, I got to the point where I didn't know if I could justify the cost of continuing. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, well, hopefully you can resume. You know, a few $100 isn't that, you know, much money really for a whole robot.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing I'm doing is, like, I call that folder. I had another robot I was working on, which I refer to as the Breadbox Robot. And when I was at Walmart, I don't know, about 10 years ago, they had these stainless steel bread boxes rolled up, you know, and I thought to myself, it'd be interesting if you made them vertical, and these doors would slide open, and then these arms would come out of them.
Do you have it?
Huh? Well, I've got the. I got.
Do you have the?
I can grab a bread box and show you real quick.
Well, we want to see Petco. I haven't seen Petco in years.
Okay, well, if you hold on. By the way, my computer shut down 3 times within the last hour, so if it shuts down, I'm not being rude. So I'll just grab Petco real quick.
Yeah, we're running overtime. We want to. I had promised people we would wrap on time, pretty much on time.
You just got. If someone else wants to share something, just go ahead.
People can always leave if.
Yeah, or actually, yeah, let me do that. We decided that what I would do is announce the sort of the official ending of the meeting. So for people that wish to, you know, that need to go, we thank everybody for participating, and we will continue as long as Alan, the actual Zoom host can stay with us. And yeah, because I see some other interesting thing from Steve. It looks like you've got a horse there to show. But so thank you for everybody who needs to go. And we'll be meeting again in the second week of March. And we'll be hosted by Riverside, by Thomas and company. So with that, we'll continue the after party.
The happy hour. I was also going to just mention that you can